What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorldPodcast. Today we're going to be jumping into Week 8, Thursday Night Football, NFL 2020. And what was the biggest part about last night's game was an illegal hit that the player is probably not going to get, he's not going to be penalized for it, I don't believe, based on some of the information that's come out. I wanted to wait to see what was going to happen with it. It's kind of weird, but the way that he was sliding and the way that he went into him, even the commentators were like, yo, you can't do that. The NFL, I don't know how it's going to work out, but just so you guys understand, recent news is stating that he probably will not be suspended for that hit on Teddy Bridgewater. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the game because if you watched it like I did, we saw going into the half that Teddy Bridgewater had a perfect passer rating. He was only 7 of 8 for like 100 yards. It was something weird like that. But again, this is the thing that I try to tell everybody when they ask me about, Teddy Bridgewater, when they're like, yo, Gmias, what do you think about him? He's not like that guy that's going to get you to the next level. He excited me a little bit when I looked at some of the fact that he was throwing the ball down the field. I was like, all right, he could throw it, whatever. There were some drop passes that wasn't entirely his fault. Robbie Anderson, in my opinion, dropped a pass that could have been a touchdown. He was 5 receptions. He had 8 targets, 48 yards. DJ Moore had some key catches on some critical downs. But at the end of the day, when he got hurt and PJ Walker came in, that was the game-changing aspect of the game. All right, even with all of that going on, you're still playing the Falcons. We're going to get to them in a second because Julio Jones just had a party. Like, he showed you, like, yo, I'm still Julio Jones. He's been plagued with injuries, but we'll get into that in a second. Just the focus of the Panthers team. Jeremy Chin with that one fake, when he ran it, he had the one carry for, 28 yards. That was the most exciting part about the Panthers offense, in my opinion. McCaffrey, a lot of people were saying, oh, McCaffrey, when he's out, they win more. Oh, so, it's some kind of stupid stat I was reading. They need McCaffrey. They need Christian on this team. And certain players that are special, you definitely start to see the struggling aspect because Mike Davis is not going to be able to do anything that, McCaffrey was doing. It's just not, it's not reasonable to ask that young man to do that, in my opinion, because, that's a crazy workload. That you have to do, and this is still football. I know that it's a lot of things change and there are precautions and it's like safety measures, but you're still getting blasted. So people have to be able to deal with those hits, and I don't think that the rushing game right now is really doing anything. Defensively, like I said, Jeremy Chin and them boys, they were playing hard. They played with some vigor last night, and I thought that they would have come back and win this game because Koo, the kicker, kept missing extra points because he sucks for the Falcons, and that kind of works out. He made the field goals but missed extra points. Like, it's like, bro, what can we have both? You kickers are the worst thing in the NFL, but we're not even going to worry about that. I know many of you guys thought that the Falcons would blow this lead. They did not. So it worked out a little bit more efficiently for them in the long run. And I know you Falcon fans are like, yo, we deserve it. We deserve to get a win, Gmias. Like, yeah, you do. But I don't think you should have got the one last night. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, bro, because you guys suck. But look, that's not what it's about, though. Because like I said, we're going to get to them in a second. Just overall, looking at the Panthers team, going into the season, it's playing out the way that I thought it would. The only thing that I didn't predict is McCaffrey getting injured, but I predicted that Teddy Bridgewater, he would rely heavily, obviously, on McCaffrey with passes out the backfield, the running game and things like that to kind of manage it because he's efficient, but he's not a guy that can just take you to that promised land. Like, he's just not. It's not. If that's what you're looking for, you are not going to get that. So that's just something that everybody needs to understand as we move forward with it and see how we can progress because, honestly speaking, it isn't really anything more you can expect out of the Panthers. Now, if McCaffrey comes back, relatively soon, we got to check his diagnosis, see what's going on, see how the rehab is going, what's going on with that. Is there a chance they can make a push in the division? Yeah, it's definitely possible. It's also possible that a rabbit could come out my butt cheeks if I was a magician, but I'm not a magician. So I don't think the Panthers are going anywhere. That's just, look, if you ask me my gut feeling about it, I don't believe that they're going to be able to do anything. That's just the way I feel about it. Now, let's jump over to Matt Ryan, because this is a guy that, he was in the Super Bowl up 20-3 and took an L. So it doesn't really matter what he's doing. He's never going to be that guy that it's just weird. It's definitely weird about him because he was the MVP. All kinds of stuff was going on. But I never really was sold on him. So let's just take a look at his stat line. 21 of 30, 281, 1 interception. Right? This is a guy that was, MVP at one point. Now, he ran for a first down. And I was like, yo, that dude is kind of fast. That kind of surprised me when I saw him run for that first down. But we're not going to even talk about that. Julio Jones was the big winner for me. 7 receptions, 137 yards, 10 targets. Now, he's up there in the ranks of like almost, reaching Jerry Rice with the amount of, 100-yard games. And that's a beautiful thing. Will he ever catch him? I don't know. But it just reminded me, and I know it reminded a lot of you, how he's been robbed of his years in the NFL with a trash quarterback. Because, again, you guys can argue with me how good Matt Ryan is. Even when Matt Ryan was at his peak, he wasn't really that good. I know he was the MVP. I understand that. But he took advantage of the fact that he could just throw the ball up in the air anywhere, and Julio would probably come down with it. That's my opinion. And then in other cases, when Julio was going wild and they had to double team and triple team Julio, he just threw it to somebody else that was single covered. So he had a lot of opportunity to be great, and in most cases he wasn't. I was never ever sold on Matt Ryan. All right. So look, now that that's out of the way, looking at Julio Jones do this, that made my night. I'm not an Atlanta Falcon fan. I could care less about the Falcons. That made my night to see him go out there and play that way. Because we used to get that every single game. And then just like everything usually happens, injuries start to happen, you start to get plagued with stuff, and then everything is a wrap. Like, that's pretty much what happened. So for me, it is a very, very interesting thing to understand. Like, what would he have been if you gave him to Tom Brady while he was with the Patriots? If you gave him to Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would Julio Jones have been? He would have been a lot greater, I tell you that, and he would have had some hardware on his fingers, but it just hurts to see it. Another thing I want to point out, Todd Gurley for the most part looked good, but I like Brian Hill. I don't know if you guys are with me with that. Brian Hill looked like he was shot out of a cannon every time he ran the ball. And it was weird to me because he had 11 carries for 55 yards, and it was like he just looked a lot better and a lot faster with more bursts. Now, Todd Gurley did look decent. He leads the NFL currently with rushing touchdowns at 8, but he's not that dude, bro. He's not that dude, okay? Just want to let you guys understand that. I look, when you get rid of, like, the Rams got rid of him and were happy about it. When dudes start doing that, they know that you're on the downhill. Now, after this weekend, he won't be the #1 rusher anymore, but that's good for him that at least he's given some production. But I like that Brian Hill dude. You know what I'm saying? I never really looked at him like, all right, is this guy good? Yo, he was flashing on the screen. It looks like he might be the incumbent starter soon because he just runs with so much energy. And it's something that it's like, wow, dude, like he really, is handling his business out there. So that's one of the things that I got from it. Everything else that went on in the game, it wasn't that, it was pretty much Falcons football. Like, you expect them to lose, the kicker starts missing extra points. Even when you think they're going to do something, they don't. It's like weird. And okay, dude, like just go ahead and get the loss. But then they were able to come out with the victory on top. And I don't believe that Teddy Bridgewater being sent to the medical tent had anything to do with the outcome, because they were playing rather pedestrian up until that point as well. So it doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. And both of these teams, it's like, what are you guys going to do anyway? It doesn't really matter. I want to thank you guys and girls for watching. Go ahead and have yourselves a great day. I'll see you next week. One love, y'all.